Hi, I'm Kyle Moore. Have you ever had your world fall apart twice in one day? First, I had to watch my mother be buried, and then my father announced he was getting engaged to my aunt at the funeral. Yeah, that really happened to me. Before I tell you more, please like and subscribe to join me on this journey of betrayal and justice. What I'm about to share isn't just a story, it's my life turned upside down. The day started like any other funeral, dark and sad, with rain threatening above. It was the perfect weather for burying my mom, Sarah Moore, the strongest person I knew. I had watched cancer slowly take her life for 8 months, and now we were standing around her grave. She fought so hard. My grandmother Margaret squeezed my hand, her voice breaking. She stood with my grandfather Richard, the CEO of Moore Enterprises, our family's real estate business. Even he couldn't hide his grief. I nodded, watching my dad, James, wiping his eyes with a handkerchief. Next to him stood my Aunt Rebecca, my mom's younger sister, rubbing his back a little too closely. Something felt off, but I was too numb to think about it. "You're handling this so well," Emma, my girlfriend, whispered, adjusting her black blazer. She's a corporate lawyer and always knows the right things to say. Then came the moment that shocked everyone. After the priest finished, my dad cleared his throat and said, "I have an announcement. Sarah would want us to find happiness. Rebecca and I are getting married." The room gasped. My grandfather's face went cold. "James, this is your wife's funeral," my grandmother shouted, her voice full of disbelief. "Dad, are you serious?" I said, unable to believe what I was hearing. My mom wasn't even cold yet. Aunt Rebecca stepped forward, reaching for my hand. "We didn't plan this, love just happened." "Don't touch me," I said, stepping back and bumping into Emma, who steadied me. The next day, the family lawyer called us all in. Mom's will was clear, she left everything to me, including her shares in Moore Enterprises. Rebecca's face was priceless. She wasn't in her right mind when she made these decisions, my dad protested. The lawyer looked at him firmly. "Your wife was perfectly lucid, James. She made these changes 3 months ago." I couldn't help but smile slightly. My mom had helped update her will when she first suspected something was wrong. She might have been dying, but she wasn't stupid. "This is ridiculous," my dad muttered, as Rebecca's true colors started to show. Walking out of the office, I could feel their eyes burning into my back. But I held my head high, just like Mom taught me. Little did I know, this was only the beginning of their plans, and my life was about to get a lot more complicated. That day, I left with Mom's wedding ring in my pocket and her shares in the company under my name. But something told me my father and Aunt Rebecca weren't going to let this go without a fight. The morning after the will reading, I walked into my office at Moore Enterprises to find my personal items packed in a box. My dad was standing there, leaning against my desk, with a smirk that made my blood boil. "This can go two ways, Kyle," he said. "Sign over your inheritance rights to me, or clean out your desk. Your choice." "You're firing me on what grounds?" I asked. "Poor performance? Insubordination? Take your pick. I'm still VP here." I clenched my fists, remembering what Mom said during her final days, "Don't let them win, baby. They'll try to break you." "You want the house too?" I asked, challenging him. "Actually, yes," he replied. "Rebecca and I are moving in next week. You have 7 days to leave." My world spun. The house where Mom and I had spent so many nights watching movies, where she'd taught me to cook, where she fought her last battle, he wanted to erase all of that. Later that night, I sat in Emma's apartment, my hand shaking as I poured another drink. "He can't just erase Mom like this." "He can't," I said. Emma's eyes suddenly lit up. "What if we could prove they're up to something?" "What do you mean?" I asked. She pulled out her laptop. "Remember that case I worked on last month? Corporate espionage. We used hidden cameras." She started typing. "These are virtually undetectable. We could place them in the common areas before you leave tomorrow." The next day, while James and Rebecca were at work, I installed the cameras, living room, kitchen, home office, anywhere they might talk freely. The wait was unbearable. 2 days later, I stayed up late to review the footage. I hit the jackpot. They were in the home office, drinking wine and going over documents. Once Kyle's out, we can start phase 2, Rebecca's voice crackled through the speaker. Are you sure about those project reports? My father asked. They're already done, she replied. I'll change the numbers myself. By next week, he'll look completely incompetent. The board will have no choice but to remove him. My hands shook as I skipped through more footage. Each clip revealed more of their plan. They were ruining my reputation at work, manipulating documents, and turning my colleagues against me. The next day at the office, I saw my father meeting with board members, showing them documents and speaking in hushed voices. People started avoiding me in the hallways. That evening, I came home to find Rebecca in my mother's garden, uprooting her prized roses. What the hell are you doing? I asked. Redecorating, she said with a sweet smile. This place needs a fresh start, just like the company will once you're gone. I went straight to my room and called Emma. I need your help reviewing these recordings. There's got to be something we can use. Already on it, she replied. And Kyle, I found something big in the company records. Your father's been cooking the books for months. We need to show this to your grandfather. Looking at Mom's picture on my nightstand, I felt a surge of determination. They thought they had me cornered, but they'd forgotten one thing. I was Sarah Moore's son, and like her, I wasn't going down without a fight. The footage I captured that night changed everything. I watched through my laptop screen as my father and Rebecca plotted in our living room at 2 a.m., their wine glasses reflecting the dim light. The Thompson Project reports are perfect, Rebecca purred, shuffling through papers. No one will question them once we change Kyle's signature dates. It'll look like he deliberately mismanaged everything. Good, my father nodded. But we need something bigger. These shares he inherited are worth millions. The board won't remove him just for one botched project. Rebecca's next words made my blood run cold. You know, accidents happen all the time on construction sites, especially to young executives doing routine inspections. My father didn't flinch. Too messy. Besides, I've got something better. Remember those offshore accounts I've been using? Nearly 40 million in embezzled funds. We can plant evidence linking it all to Kyle. I called Emma immediately. Within an hour, she was at my place, her laptop open and legal pad ready. We need to document everything perfectly, she muttered, typing quickly. Screenshots, timestamps, audio transcripts, your grandfather needs to see all of it. We worked through the night and uncovered more than we ever imagined. Rebecca had a history of insurance fraud across 3 states, and my father had been stealing company funds since before Mom got sick, money that could have paid for better treatment. The next morning, I walked into my grandparents' mansion with a heavy file under my arm. My grandfather, Richard, was sitting in his study, with my grandmother, Margaret, beside him. This better be important, Kyle. The board meeting starts in an hour. I connected my laptop to his TV screen. Watch this. Their faces changed as they watched the footage. My grandmother gasped when they reached the part about the accident, and my grandfather's hands gripped his armchair, his knuckles turning white. That money-grabbing witch, my grandmother whispered when the footage revealed Rebecca's history of fraud. When the video ended, my grandfather stood up, his face red with anger. The board meeting felt like walking into a lion's den. My father and Rebecca sat there smirking, but their smiles disappeared when my grandfather started playing the footage on the conference room screen. Care to explain this, James? He asked, his voice cold and sharp. My father jumped up. This is clearly doctored. Kyle's trying to frame me. The timestamps and metadata are certified, Emma interrupted, laying out documents, as are these bank records showing the embezzlement. You were planning to kill my grandson, my grandmother shouted, her voice shaking with rage. The boardroom erupted into chaos. Security was called. My father tried to run, but 2 guards blocked the door. Rebecca started screaming about lawsuits and accusations being false. My father rejected all the claims, saying I was playing games and that the evidence was incorrect. The Moore family doesn't bend to blackmail or threats, my grandfather announced to the packed room. And today, we prove it. His gaze swept across the nervous faces of the board members and executives. James Moore and Rebecca Wilson have committed crimes against this company and this family. As of now, James is removed from his position as VP, stripped of all titles, and barred from any more properties. My father lunged forward. "You can't do this. I built half this company." With one word from my grandfather, 2 guards grabbed my father's arms. "Kyle Moore will assume the position of vice president, effective immediately," my grandfather declared. I stood up, straightening my tie. "The Thompson project will proceed as planned, with substantial modifications. We're not just building offices, we're adding a state-of-the-art cancer research facility in honor of Sarah Moore." Rebecca's face twisted with rage. "This isn't over. We know things that could destroy this company, like the offshore accounts." Emma stepped forward, dropping a thick folder on the table. "All documented, all traced, all being investigated by the FBI as we speak." Within hours, my father and Rebecca were escorted off. Every Moore property, their keys, access cards, everything, was taken from them. I watched from my new office as they loaded their belongings into a rental car. 6 months later, I stood at Mom's grave, placing fresh roses. "We did it, Mom. The cancer wing opens next week. Your name will help save lives." A newspaper rustled in the wind nearby, and the headline read, "James Moore faces federal charges for embezzlement." They were living in a small apartment now, shunned by everyone who mattered in the city. Karma had its own timetable. Emma appeared beside me, her engagement ring catching the sunlight. "I proposed last week, right after closing our biggest deal yet." I touched Mom's headstone, just updating her on everything. My grandparents were waiting in the car. "The Morrison contract needs your signature," my grandfather said, but his proud smile said much more. "Sarah would be so proud," he added. My grandmother squeezed my hand. "You saved more than the company, Kyle. You saved our family's legacy." Walking into Moore Enterprises now, everyone knew who I was, not just James Moore's son, but Sarah Moore's son, the son who faced betrayal and came out stronger, the son who turned pain into purpose. My father tried calling last week, crying about forgiveness and second chances. I hung up. Some things can't be forgiven, only survived, and some victories are best celebrated by moving forward, never looking back. The cancer wing opens tomorrow. Mom would have loved that, her memory helping others fight the battle she lost. As for me, I'm just getting started. The Moore legacy is in good hands now, the right hands. What would you do? If you discovered your parent was not only betraying your other parent's memory, but also actively trying to destroy your future, would you show mercy or make sure they face the full consequences of their actions? I chose justice over forgiveness, but everyone's moral compass points differently. I'm really curious to hear your perspective. Where do you draw the line between family loyalty and self-preservation? If you connected with this story of betrayal and justice, consider subscribing to join our community. I share new real-life stories every week about standing up to toxic family members and emerging stronger. Hit the like button if you believe karma always comes full circle. Remember, sometimes the family we're born into isn't worthy of our loyalty, and that's okay. Stay strong.